Man, episode 9 was wild. We're talking about straight chaos, bodies dropping, people switching up, and the kind of drama that makes you sit there like, ain't no way this about to end smooth. With only one more episode left, it feels like everybody's cards are on the table, but the game just got more dangerous. This one had me on edge from start to finish, and if you thought the storm was bad now, wait till the finale hits. So first things first, the question everybody keeps asking, is this the final season of BMF? Look, I get it, 50 Cent been talking, rumors been flying, but Star still ain't said a word to confirm it, and that's the thing. Usually, if it's the final season, they let us know from the jump. They don't wait till the very end unless something went sideways, bad ratings, budget cuts, whatever. And right now, we don't got that confirmation. So, y'all already know what that means, we in that waiting game. But I'll keep it real with you. Based on what 50 said about ratings deciding the future, I think this season is a test. If the numbers ain't good, it's a wrap. Now, speaking of things that got wrapped up, rest in peace to Loco. Yeah, we officially smoking on that Loco pack because the way he went out was brutal. That cartel beef been bubbling all season, and it finally boiled over. That man didn't just get taken out, he got blown up. I know some of y'all called it weeks ago when we saw that car explosion in the trailer. And sure enough, that was him, and for Meech, that hit different. They had history, they had trust. And losing him like that, you could see it in Meech's face. That was more than just business, but there's no time to mourn when the game keeps moving. Now he's got to deal with Manuel and Kali, and that's a whole new chess match. While Meech is making moves on the West Coast, Terry's story is setting up something big. If we get that season 5, I can already see how they're gonna keep building this West Coast storyline. Cause that's where Terry was heavy in real life, but right now, Terry's got his own mess to clean up. Marisha, she got caught slipping bad. Boom been watching her play both sides, trying to finesse his connects for her and Terry's come up, and that plan backfired hard. Now she's laid up in the hospital, lucky to still be breathing, and honestly, we saw it coming. That trailer showed us she was getting hit by that car, but seeing it play out was still crazy. Boom don't miss when he wants to make a statement, and then we got Meech and Maria. Meech finally told her he's done, no games, no serious future, he's out, but you can tell Maria wasn't ready to hear that. And now Meech's attention is shifting to Ashley, Sky Jackson's character, and you can just feel that connection building. How deep that's gonna go, we'll see, but knowing Meech, if she's rolling with him, she's gonna be in the middle of all kinds of trouble before long. But let's talk about the biggest storm brewing. Lamar, man, when I tell you this, dude came back on straight demon time. He don't care about nothing but chaos. He ran up on B. Mickey's daughter, then snatched up his wife, and now they're on the way to Atlanta. It's like he's dragging everybody into his personal war. And that sets up this finale to be pure madness, a showdown that's been a long time coming. Alright, so let's keep it real. When Lamar stepped back on the scene, I already knew the streets weren't gonna be the same. But the way he moving right now, it's not just reckless, it's strategic chaos. This man is playing with people's lives like it's a board game. And B. Mickey's family just became his pawns. First, he pops up on the daughter, not a threat, not a warning, just straight intimidation. Then he grabs the wife, and you can tell Lamar ain't planning on holding them for ransom or playing nice, nah. He's dragging them to Atlanta for something way bigger, something way darker. You can feel it, this ain't just beef, this is personal. And B. Mickey? Man, he's running on fumes. Every bad move he's made is catching up to him at the same time. He's got Lamar breathing down his neck, Meech and Terry losing trust in him, and now Detective Bryant creeping in with that slow, silent pressure. You saw his face when he spotted Dome Ranger, that split-second panic. That I gotta get the hell out of here energy, but it's too late. Bryant already connected the dots from that club video. He knows it was B. Mickey with Laz, and he knows Laz didn't walk away from that. The thing is, Bryant knows Meech wouldn't have done it, killing in cold blood, especially like that. That's not Meech's style, but B. Mickey, that's exactly what he does when he's cornered. And now, he's cornered on all sides. What's wild is, Meech and Terry still got their own war going on while all this is happening. That scene with Nicole having her baby? It had everybody on edge for a second, cause it wasn't looking good at first, and when it finally went right, there was that one moment that said everything. She named the baby Demetrius. Meech didn't waste a second throwing that in Terry's face, acting like a little brother trying to score points. But Terry wasn't wrong when he clapped back. He's been calling out Meech's bad habit of bringing shady people into their circle, and he's right, some of these people are snakes. But here's the thing, Terry ain't innocent either. Bringing B. Mickey back into the mix was a straight-up mistake. And now the whole crew's paying for it, you can feel it. The trust between Meech and Terry is fragile, it's not broken yet, but the cracks are deep. And in this game, once trust is gone, it's gone for good. They're trying to keep it together, but with Lamar causing chaos, B. Mickey spiraling, and the cartel still lurking in the background, they're getting pulled in too many directions. One bad call could blow everything up. And we can't ignore the West Coast play. Manuel's entrance into the game changes things for Meech. This ain't no small-time partner. This is a man with his own network, his own power, and his own agenda. Meech has to tread carefully, cause California is not just a new opportunity. It's a whole new battlefield. Out there, it's not just about who you know. It's about who you can trust to hold you down when things get ugly. And with the way Body's been dropping lately, trust is in short supply. Then there's Maresh's situation. Look, Boom letting her live might have been a mercy. But it wasn't forgiveness. That man made his point. She played a dangerous game, trying to take his connects and flip them for her and Terry's advantage, and she lost. Now she's in the hospital, and you already know, the streets don't wait for you to heal. If she comes back into play, she's gonna have to move differently. The question is, did she learn from this, or is she gonna try to run the same game again? Cause if it's the latter, next time, she might not make it back. And speaking of lessons, Meech's decision to cut off Maria is one of those moves that shows he's thinking ahead, at least in his mind. He's not trying to get tied down when the business is already messy. But cutting ties in this life ain't clean. Maria's hurt, and hurt people in this world, they can be unpredictable. And while he's got his eye on Ashley now, it's too soon to say what role she's gonna play in all this. If she gets pulled into the fire, it could go bad quick. All of this is building to something big. Episode 9 wasn't just about shocking moments, it was about setting up the board for the finale. Every move made here is gonna have a payoff. In episode 10, whether it's revenge, betrayal, or straight up survival, and right now, everybody's in play. Lamar's on a warpath, B. Mickey's hanging by a thread. Terry and Meech are barely holding it together, and the streets are watching. One wrong step, and somebody's story ends for good. Now let's really break down the Lamar situation, cause this dude is the definition of unpredictable. When Lamar's around, nothing is safe, not your people, not your business, not even your peace of mind, and the way he's moving right now, it's like he's got nothing to lose. You gotta remember, Lamar thrives in chaos. The more unstable the streets are, the more comfortable he feels, and in episode 9, he didn't just make a move. He sent a message. Snatching up B. Mickey's family ain't just about leverage. It's about making him suffer. It's psychological warfare. You can kill a man, sure, but breaking his spirit, that's a whole different level of pain. And Lamar ain't the type to just snatch people up for no reason. He's dragging them to Atlanta for a purpose. That tells me the finale is gonna have multiple showdowns happening at the same time. On one side, you got Lamar and B. Mickey's war, and on the other, you got Meech and Terry's operations being tested from every angle. And the wild part, these two situations are about to collide. When that happens, there's gonna be casualties, ain't no way around it. What makes Lamar even more dangerous is that you can't predict which way he'll go. 1 minute, he's the loud, wild dude everyone's scared of, and the next, he's calm and calculated. That mix is deadly, cause you never know which version you're dealing with until it's too late. And B. Mickey, man, he's already in survival mode. He's not thinking straight, he's not moving smart. Every choice he's made recently has been sloppy. First, crossing lines with people he can't beat, then letting emotions run the show. That's how you get trapped, and now he's got Lamar on one side and the law on the other. That's a death sentence waiting to be signed. Speaking of the law, Detective Bryant is still lurking, and people underestimate how dangerous that man can be when he's got a scent. He's not a cop who's gonna let something slide because it's inconvenient. If anything, he gets more focused when things get messy. That club footage was the turning point. Once he saw B. Mickey was with Laz, the whole story shifted. Now Bryant's not just chasing leads, he's hunting. And when a cop starts hunting you like that, it's only a matter of time before you either get caught or end up in a box. Meanwhile, Meech is trying to play it cool, but he's got too many fires to put out. California is a big opportunity, but it's also a distraction. Manuel is a major player, and in that world, alliances are thin. One wrong word, one bad deal, and you're on the outside looking in. And in Cali, being on the outside means you're a target. Meech knows that, but the question is, can he juggle the West Coast expansion while keeping Detroit from falling apart? Because right now, Detroit is looking shaky, and then you got Terry, who's supposed to be holding down the fort. But he's got his own drama, and let's keep it real, some of it's his fault. He brought B. Mickey back, thinking it would strengthen the crew. And now that's blowing up in his face. The baby situation with Nicole might not be his drama directly, but it's still family business, and in this game, family drama bleeds into street drama fast. And the way Meech and Terry were going at it over Nicole naming the baby after Meech, that wasn't just brotherly banter, that was ego. And ego can kill partnerships just as quick as betrayal. Back to Maresha, her storyline is a perfect example of how greed and ambition can backfire. She saw an opportunity with Boom's connects and instead of playing it safe, she tried to flip the script, but Boom, he's an old school player, you cross him, you pay. The fact that she's still alive is a blessing, but it's also a warning. The next time she steps out of line, it won't end with a hospital bed, it'll end with a headstone. And if Terry keeps her in the mix, he's taking on her enemies as his own. That's dangerous. What episode 9 really did well was setting up multiple storylines to explode at once. Lamar's kidnapping spree, B. Mickey's downfall, the West Coast expansion, the fragile truce between Meech and Terry, all of it's coming to a head, you can just feel it, and the thing about BMF is, they don't usually give us a clean wrap-up, if anything. They end with something that leaves you shook. Something that makes you question who's gonna make it out alive. And with how episode 9 ended, I'm already bracing for a finale where nobody's safe. The thing about episode 9 is, it didn't just give us action, it gave us pressure. You could feel it on every character like the walls are closing in. And the air's getting thin, and when that kind of pressure hits in the BMF world, people start making desperate moves. Desperation is dangerous because it makes people act first and think later and right now. That's exactly where a lot of these characters are. Let's talk about Meech for a second. Everybody sees him as the face of the operation, the one who's always got a plan, but in this episode, you could see moments where even Meech was second-guessing things. Losing Loco wasn't just a hit to the crew, it was a hit to him personally. You could tell from that scene when he heard the news, Loco wasn't just another player. He was someone Meech could rely on. Now that trust is gone and in the streets. Losing a trusted soldier is like losing a limb. You can still move, but you're not the same, and instead of slowing down to heal, Meech is already moving on to his next play with Manuel and Kali. That's risky. And the Manuel situation is interesting. He's not someone you can just charm or out-talk. In California, the rules are different, the game is the same, but the players? They move with a different kind of cold. They don't care about your reputation back home. They care about what you can bring to the table right now. If you can't prove your worth quick, you're out, and the West Coast ain't forgiving. If Meech slips up, it won't just hurt him, it'll hurt everybody connected to him. Meanwhile, Terry's trying to hold Detroit together. But the cracks are showing. The baby drama with Nicole might seem small in the grand scheme, but moments like that tell you everything about where his head's at. Instead of focusing fully on the business, he's caught in personal jabs with Meech. That little back and forth over Nicole naming the baby after Meech wasn't just about the name. It was about pride, and pride is a silent killer in this game. It makes you blind to the bigger picture, and that's when enemies strike. And speaking of enemies, Lamar is moving like he's got a score to settle with the whole world. The kidnapping of B. Mickey's family wasn't just a random act. It was a calculated move to break him. Lamar knows B. Mickey's a shooter. But shooters don't think straight when their people are in danger. It's a distraction, and in a war, distraction gets you killed. Lamar's dragging them to Atlanta tells me he's looking for a stage. He wants whatever happens next to be big, loud, and unforgettable. And when someone like Lamar is thinking about making a statement, it usually ends with somebody not making it home. B. Mickey's position right now is almost impossible. On one side, he's got Lamar pulling him into a trap. On the other, Detective Bryant is circling like a shark. And then there's Meech and Terry, who are already questioning his loyalty. That's 3 fronts. No soldier survives fighting a war on 3 fronts. He's running out of allies, running out of places to hide, and running out of time. You can almost see it in his body language, that paranoia creeping in. That awareness that every knock on the door might be the last thought. And let's not forget Maresha. Her hospital bed might give her a little time to think, but in the streets, time is a luxury. The moment she's back on her feet, she's gonna have to decide whether she's still in this game or if she's tapping out. Because now that Boom knows she's willing to snake him for a deal, there's no going back to how things were, even if she wanted to make peace. Trust doesn't grow back once it's been cut. One thing I really noticed in episode 9 is how the writers are showing us that everybody's vulnerable now. Nobody's untouchable. Meech, Terry, Lamar, B. Mickey, even the ones who think they're in control are just one wrong move away from losing it all. And with the finale coming, that's exactly how you want the board set: unstable, unpredictable, and ready to explode. The pacing of this episode also felt like the calm before the storm. Except the calm still had bodies dropping and people getting snatched. That's how you know the finale is gonna be insane. Every storyline is already running hot, and when they all collide in episode 10, we're gonna see who's really built for this life and who's been faking it. The question isn't just who's gonna win, it's who's gonna survive. By the time episode 9 hit that halfway point, you could feel it. The streets were getting hungrier, and everybody was moving like the clock was ticking. That's the thing about being this close to the finale, there's no more time for slow plays. Every move has to count and every decision has consequences that hit fast, and right now. The consequences are coming down on everybody. Let's start with B. Mickey, because this man is in the middle of a storm he helped create. From the jump, B. Mickey has been that guy who's useful because he's willing to pull the trigger when others hesitate, but the downside of being the shooter is you become predictable. The streets know what you're about, the cops know what you're about, and your enemies know exactly how to push your buttons. That's where he's at now, predictable and exposed. Lamar knows his weakness is family, so he plays that card. Detective Bryant knows his weakness is impulse, so he watches for it. And Meech knows his weakness is loyalty, not to the crew, but to himself. B. Mickey moves for B. Mickey first, and that's why his spot in the crew is shaky, and let's not overlook Detective Bryant in all this. He's been patient to patient. That's what makes him dangerous right now. Episode 9 showed us that Bryant isn't chasing headlines or making flashy busts. He's building a case slow, stacking pieces until they lock together tight, and B. Mickey just gave him the piece he's been waiting for. Once Bryant saw that club footage, it was over. He might not make his move in episode 9, but you can bet he's positioning himself so that when he strikes, it's gonna be clean. Over on Meech's side, the collie play is looking like both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it's a chance to expand and link up with Manuel, who could open doors that Detroit never could. On the other hand, it's pulling Meech's focus when the home front is already cracking. The cartel situation is still raw from Loco's death, Terry's trust is slipping, and Lamar's chaos is reaching new levels. That's a lot to juggle, even for someone like Meech. And in this game, if you spread yourself too thin, you don't just lose, you get wiped out. Terry's not helping his case either. He's trying to play the role of the level-headed brother, the one who sees the danger before it hits. But that means nothing if you're still making reckless moves. Bringing B. Mickey back was reckless, getting caught up in ego wars with Meech over Nicole's baby, reckless, and his tie to Marisha, who's now officially marked by Boom, is only making his side weaker. The more personal connections you have in this life, the more weak spots your enemies can hit, and right now, Terry's giving people too many targets. Nicole's storyline might seem like the calmest in the middle of all this madness, but it's actually another layer of tension. The question of whether the baby belongs to Breezy or Worm might sound like gossip, but in the BMF world, that kind of uncertainty can spark real problems. Family is everything here. And when family ties are in question, it messes with loyalty. Meech already feels protective. Terry feels like he's losing control of the narrative, and Nicole, she's stuck in the middle. That tension might be quiet now, but don't be surprised if it blows up later. Back to Marisha, I can't stress enough how much her situation shows the brutal reality of this life. You can think you're playing chess, making moves, flipping pieces to your side, but the moment you miscalculate with someone like Boom, you're done. Boom doesn't play by the rules, he is the rule. And even though he didn't finish the job this time, the message was loud: you're not untouchable. She's in recovery now, but that target on her back, that doesn't heal. And Lamar, man. Lamar is like a storm that doesn't die down. It just changes direction. Kidnapping B. Mickey's family is bad enough, but dragging them to Atlanta, that's not random. Lamar is looking for a setting where the stakes are higher, where the chaos can spill over into other beefs. Atlanta's got its own players, its own politics, and once you bring your mess there, it multiplies. Lamar knows that. He thrives in the ripple effect when one problem turns into 5. And the finale is looking like it's gonna be exactly that, one big mess turning into something even bigger. Episode 9 made it clear that there's no safety net left. Every character is standing on their own choices now. The alliances are fragile, the trust is thin, and the enemies are bold. Meech and Terry might still be brothers, but they're not moving like they're on the same page. B. Mickey is running out of friends, Marisha is marked, Lamar is loose, and Detective Bryant is patient enough to let all of them hang themselves before he steps in. If this is the setup for episode 10, then we're about to see one of those finals where nothing gets tied up neat, the kind of ending that leaves you staring at the screen, knowing someone's not coming back, and wondering if the people who do survive will even be able to stand next to each other after this. Now here's where it all comes crashing together, and trust me, nothing about this part feels calm. Meech got that look like he's ready to burn bridges just to build his empire the way he sees fit. And we already know, when Meech's back is against the wall, he moves with no hesitation. But the heat ain't just coming from the streets. No more, it's coming from all sides. Cops, rivals, even people who smiled in his face yesterday, now whispering behind his back. You can feel that energy shift, the kind where you know the storm is close, but you can't tell if the lightning gonna strike you or the person standing next to you. Terry on the other hand, is slipping deeper into that space where trust don't exist. He's clocking everything, every side look, every pause in a conversation. The man's stacking his moves, but you can see it in his eyes. He's tired. Not tired like I need sleep, tired like I'm done playing nice. And when Terry gets to that point, somebody's bound to pay. The brothers both want the crown, but right now they ain't even wearing the same colors in this war. And that's dangerous. Now don't think the streets ain't watching. Word travels fast. And rumors even faster. There's whispers about Meech having new connects outside the city. People who move quiet but move heavy, and those whispers, they're making the locals nervous. You don't just bring in out-of-towners without shaking the foundation, the OGs, who've been holding their corners for years. They see this as a threat. And when OGs feel threatened, blood tends to spill before contracts get signed. The women in their lives, they feeling it too. You can tell when a woman knows something's about to go wrong. It's in the way she watches, the way she talks less but listens more. They catching little signs the brothers might not see, and the way the story's shaping up. One wrong step could pull them right into the line of fire. And while all this is going down, law enforcement ain't sleeping either. They're playing the long game, collecting every breadcrumb, waiting for the perfect moment to close in. But here's the thing about Meech and Terry, they know the game is played in shadows. And they thrive in the dark. So even when it looks like the walls are closing in, these two are already thinking 3 moves ahead. But here's the twist. The biggest threat might not be the enemies they see. Sometimes it's the people you least expect, the ones who've been standing right next to you the whole time. And in this world, loyalty is just a word until it's tested. We're standing at the edge of something major. And next episode, yeah, that's when we'll find out who's really built for this life and who's just been acting like they are.